I see it in individuals and collective expressions of love all over the world by all kinds of different people who resist the temptation to lump themselves into one particular frightened group or another.
Roger, I'm going to put a couple of emails to you, if I may, because viewers from around the world wrote in. Just get some of these out quickly to you. One came in from South Africa, from Kamarin Peter, who wrote in saying, how do you respond to the notion that being pro-Palestinian carries an anti-Semitic agenda?
Well, it's nonsense. It's being pro-freedom and pro-human rights. We're talking about basic, fundamental human rights. So if you're against an Israeli policy that has a two-tier system, like it's interesting that that comes from South Africa, like they used to have in South Africa, you know, before the fall of the old regime, the apartheid regime. Well, I'm against Israel for exactly the same reasons that I was against South Africa. It's a two-tier racist system. They have passbooks. They have to carry identity cards that say whether they're a Jew or an Arab. It's insane.
I'm going to put one more email to you from Bangladesh, from Dhaka, from Masihul Chaudhry, who says, Roger's solidarity with Palestinians resembles the way George Harrison and Ravi Shankar played for Bangladesh in 1971. His efforts will add to the strength of the Palestinians. A comment there. And it makes me wonder, you played at the site of the Berlin Wall in 1990, after that wall came down. From what you've seen, and considering how lingering the situation has been, how long it's been lingering between Israelis and Palestinians, do you ever expect to play at the site of the former wall, the separation wall?
Well, wouldn't it be great to say yes? Yes. There you go. And you can call me an old fool, but these things can happen very, very swiftly. You know, there's a tipping point in all of this always. And I wouldn't want to say no, because that might discourage those people who believe in a peaceful solution. And I want to encourage that line of thought and encourage those people. And nothing would please me more than if, say, in 10 years' time, we can go. Okay, boys, come on, put the stuff in the trucks, we're on our way. It would be fantastic. It would be so moving.
Please do invite me.
I will.
Thank you very much for your time.
Not
enjoyed
at all.
talking with you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for being with us. Remember, you can follow the show on Facebook and see what we're up to there. You can give us your feedback on topics and post your questions and comments. On the next show, 1,000 women dying every day. That's around how many are lost to preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth. We examine maternal health issues ahead of International Women's Day. Make sure you tune in for that. From me and the team, we'll see you next time.
Business Latest is brought to you by Qatar Gas, delivering energy to the world. Business Latest is brought to you by Qatar Gas, delivering energy to the world.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. At this time on Al Jazeera.
A debilitating condition afflicting millions of women across the developing world.
Sometimes it is not possible to cure a patient with fistula, we have to prepare her psychologically.
Revealing the human stories behind fistula and its intimate connection to poverty. A powerful new series exploring global maternal health. Birthrights, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Opposition forces prepare for confrontation after renewed fighting in Libya's eastern cities. Hello, this is Al Jazeera in Doha. I'm Adrian Finnegan. Our other top stories this hour. Egypt's new Prime Minister joins protesters in Tahrir Square and vows to meet their demands. Yemen opposition rallies intensify as President Saleh rejects a transition plan to step down. Thousands of Iraqis take to the streets across the country to protest against corruption and unemployment. We begin in Libya, where there's been more unrest after Friday prayers. We're getting reports that forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi have fired tear gas on thousands of protesters marching in the capital, Tripoli. Protesters have also gathered in the eastern city of Benghazi, demanding an end to Colonel Gaddafi's rule. It comes after a series of strikes on eastern towns on Tuesday and Wednesday. There's also been a new attack on AlJazeera, the closest opposition-held city to Tripoli. Witnesses described scenes of battles with heavy machine guns and automatic weapons between armed residents and army units. The UN says that a wave of refugees fleeing Libya has suddenly slowed after a clampdown by pro-Gaddafi forces. But many people are still stranded at Libya's borders and inside the country. The International Committee of the Red Cross is appealing for $25 million in aid to pay for supplies such as water, medicine and food. Meanwhile, the humanitarian crisis caused by the conflict is worsening. 180,000 people have now fled the country. Thousands more, especially from the Indian subcontinent, are still waiting to leave. As we said, the UN is reporting a humanitarian crisis. More than 90,000 people have fled, it says, to Tunisia. Nearly 80,000 have crossed into Egypt. Another 2,500 people have crossed at the Niger border too. But while agencies are warning of a growing crisis for these refugees, thousands more are still stuck inside Libya, as Bernard Smith reports.
Row after row of tents in this UN transit camp on the Tunisian side of the border with Libya. The site is already full. But the process of moving these people home has picked up. Throughout Friday, 40 flights will head to Cairo alone. Britain, France and the United States are providing aircraft to help the evacuation. The UN says that the number of refugees crossing into Tunisia